Yeah, okay, hi friends. And we are going to talk as regards very important and intimate topic, and that is intimacy and sexuality. Before that, let me introduce myself into two ways, okay? And you would know the reason why so. So I'm Dr. Prasanna Gadre, practicing in Kothurud area, Pune, that is, for last 26 years as a skin specialist, that is dermatologist, cosmetologist and aesthetician, and most importantly as a sexologist. Now let me do my where I happen to deal with sexuality. So friends, I was born at a place called Rawalgaon, which is famous for sugar toffees, and you know that the sugar toffees look something like this, like an index finger. And seeing a toffee like sweet smile on my face, probably my mother kept my name as Prasanna. Well, when I was in fourth standard, I read a book called As Your Body, and I was very impressed with that book, and I read it for 10 to 15 times. And it was then and there that a strong burning desire to become a medical doctor was generated. And Lord Ganesha said, Tathastu. He gave me his blessings, and I became Dr. Prasanna Srikanta Gadre. Well, whatever I am, I owe it to my parents, Mr. Srikant Gadre, and from him I have learned consistency, credibility, and continuity in life. And my mother was a working banker. She's still alive, of course, and balance in life is what I've learned from her. I am blessed by two daughters, and my wife is an eye specialist. So I can say that as a sexologist as well as a corporate trainer, I help people to increase their inner beauties, and as a dermatologist as their outer beauties. And my wife tells them how to look at beauty and how and to know what beauty is because she is eye specialist. You see. So this is my second introduction. So why did I do these two introductions? The first one was purely professional, and the second was personal or intimate, because every speaker is very much curious and eager to know who is the person who is talking with me. And precisely for the same reason, I'm giving you the example that what is the difference between a professional connect or intimacy and a personal connect and intimacy with these two introductions. Before that, see, the moment we happen to say intimacy and sexuality or sex, people use these two terms and sort of in a similar manner or analogously and interchangeably, but they are not so. They are very much different from each other. And the moment people say intimacy, they mean to say that physical or sexual intimacy. And the moment people say sex or sexuality, उनके मन में क्या विचार आता है? तो सिर्फ एक ही विचार आता है, and that is he and she is having sex in the bed. This is one. Second thought is humor, because humor and sex go together. And third is that four-letter word which starts with F. But friends, sexuality is more than sex, and sex is more than that four-letter word. And all these three things are different from intimacy. And that is what we are going to see today. And one thing I would tell you or express first is that though that orgasm or the wow feeling, okay, is very important and everybody wants to get that, sex or orgasm is something like a peak of a mountain or Mountain Everest, you can say. So the peak जो सबसे ऊंचाई पर रहता है वो तो महत्वपूर्ण है ही, but the mountain, entire mountain, is more important. Because imagine that if you happen to go on Mount Everest summit or peak directly with helicopter, तो फिर क्या मजा आएगा? Similarly, only if a person thinks of orgasm or his mind is having only the three-letter word that is sex, तो फिर intimacy का क्या मजा आएगा? But instead, if the person does mountaineering, जिसे गिर्यारोहण कहते हैं, and gradually goes, तो जिसे गिर्यारोहण कहते हैं, माने माउंट एवरेस्ट जो है, तो anybody, if he or she gradually goes up to the summit, enjoying the nature, enjoying the beauty of the mountain and the mountain ranges and what is Himalaya, then then reaches the summit, then that would be great. And exactly that is what the relationship between intimacy and sex. So 1, 2, 3 start. क्या क्या करते हैं हम जिंदगी में? So there are only 7 to 9 things which we happen to do. First is being, that means being something. I'm not going to elaborate because I am going to focus on intimacy and sexuality. Then the second is doing something or the action. Third is knowing, okay. Fourth is having. Fifth is thinking. Then comes dreaming. Then comes emoting. And the last but not the least is relating. And so we go with something which is called as relationships. Now there are many types of relationships, okay? And to start with, there is a blood relationship, then there are social relationships, grandfather, grandmother, daughter, son, you know everything, mother and father. These are all blood relations. Coming to the neighbors and the friends and the party mongers and the acquaintances, these are the social relations. But there are something more. Once you go out of your that acquaintance and basic first orbit relatives, when you go out of that, then comes the social people. But who are they? So the people with whom we are related financially, professionally, occupationally, and then finally the relationship with anybody as a citizen or human to human. Okay, just remember one thing, that if you want to get less problems in life, separate your financial, professional and occupational relationships from rest all others. And of course, in a social institute, whether it's any kind, whether it's an educational institute or a professional institute or the society at large, then there are certain relationships which are related to power hierarchies and authorities. And those are called as authority relationship, just like a classroom student and a teacher, or a boss and a subordinate, or an employer and an employee. So that is one. And finally, the relationship that is the sexual relationship. Uh, in every relationship, there is me and we and others. Okay, the strangers, you can say, happen to come in those others. The most important relationship between amongst all this is relationship of equality, where everybody treats other like a human being. Because remember, friends, whatever we are, okay, we are all unique individuals, but remember that all of us, we have feelings, emotions and sentiments, and which are the same. Okay, the intensity and the propensity might differ, but everybody feels. And that is the point of feeling emotions and sentiments, where the entire world rotates or revolves, whatever you want to say. And hence, in any intimate relation, caring for each other's feeling, sentiments becomes very, very, very important. So equality as regards gender, and equality as regards feelings, and a basic humanitarian approach, that is what is required, irrespective of the socio-economical stratas and the structures, in which I am not going to go. Now coming to friendship. So what are the different types of friendships? Okay. So there are 4 types of friends. Okay. The first kind of friendship is called as friendship of utility. Okay, where there is a mutuality and reciprocation. And Aristotle, way back, has classified the friendship. Oh my God, Aristotle was a philosopher who knew almost everything. Okay. So any kind of utility, okay, utility not in the sense of using somebody, but mutuality is there. And where I will help you and you help me. So that is one kind of a friendship. The second kind of a friendship is friendship of convenience. Say, for example, on your floor or in your society, some person is there, some neighbor is there. You are not having any kind of emotional feelings for that person, and you are also not having any rapport. You know him slightly more than acquaintance, but as a social etiquette, as a social norm, we happen to maintain that relationship because friendships or relationships of convenience are for convenience. When nobody is there, he or she is there. And most importantly, in case of urgency and emergency, apart from our true friends, these people are important, because if for a person some problem happens, okay, and nobody is there, then only that neighbor is going to save us. We help others, okay. If he's in emergency, we will go to save him, and with a notion that if I land up in emergency or urgency, that person would save me. Do unto others as you would expect them to do unto you. So that is the friendship of convenience. Now the third type of friendship is enemy's enemy is my friend. Okay. This happens even at a political level. In the World War I and World War II, allies were there, allied forces. And the last is the genuine true friendship, where every other thing becomes incidental, and there the role of intimacy definitely comes in picture. So what's that? From that blue arrow now starts the intimacy. So what is that? So first, let us differentiate between concepts of liking somebody and loving somebody, and we utterly mix them two, but they are totally different. There are some people जिनसे हम प्यार नहीं करते मगर वो हमें अच्छे लगते हैं. तो अच्छा क्या लगता है? Again told by Aristotle, is the virtues and the goodness, or the different good qualities which they are having out of their many characteristic features, and it is because of that that we like somebody. So many people in your life you might be liking, but you need not be loving them. So liking is basically at cognitive level. Then comes the love, which is definitely an emotion, but it is also a verb, okay? And in true intimacy, people do not love only at emotional level, but they love at action level also. So, what is that emotive thing is a philicity that happens naturally. Something like natural taste, okay, which we say. So, for example, you like a mango ice cream or a vanilla flavor or a strawberry flavor. Why do you like? Because you like right from the beginning. It is your taste. So, there are some people whom you just love them, okay, because you feel from inside. वो अंदर से ही लगता है. It's more, I think, intuitive, and some wavelength matches, okay, और उसमें प्यार ज्यादा रहता है. So in spite of a person having maybe vices or certain negative characteristic, you can still love him, okay. And that's why the love is more at emotional level, the liking is at a cognitive level. So now, if you want to classify your own people, I think there will be two or three classifications. The first one is people whom you like. The second one is people whom you love. The third one is people whom you like and love. उसमें intimacy का मजा रहता है. And the fourth one is like, love, and respect or adore. Okay. So some people are likable, some people are lovable, and some people are adorable. And from their side, and from our side, we like some people, we love some people, we like and love, and we like, love, and adore. We will come to a point which is called as romance. Romance, the word comes from the word Rome, and Rome, 3,000 years ago, where Rome and Greece, they were at the top at that time, and everything was very good, very peaceful, very lovable, and basically uh, everything was decorated. Okay, why the word romance came from Rome. So romance has basically, it contains, it is a psychological aspect, it's a social aspect and aesthetic aspect it has, and more importantly, it has a setting. तो आप आपके गर्लफ्रेंड या बॉयफ्रेंड के साथ अगर कैंडल लाइट डिनर के ऊपर गए, एक बहुत ही मधुर म्यूजिक बैकग्राउंड में है, बहुत अच्छा कलरफुल कॉम्बिनेशन स्कीम है, एक अच्छा एरोमा आ रहा है होटल में, या कॉफी का एरोमा हो, और you are taken the hand of your girlfriend or boyfriend in your hand and having a very romantic talk. Well, that is called as a romance. But romance can also be cognitive. Say for example, if I am truly loving you as human beings and I love my audience and I am having affinity for audience, तो ये हमारे दोनों के बीच क्या चल रहा है अभी इस वक्त, तो ये रोमांस चल रहा है. अच्छे एक्टर्स कौन होते हैं? जो ऑडियंस के साथ अच्छी तरह से कनेक्ट होते हैं और रोमांस कर सकते हैं. ओके, सो रोमांस नीड नॉट बी ओनली बिटवीन अ बॉयफ्रेंड एंड अ गर्लफ्रेंड, इट कैन बी बिटवीन एनी टू entities. So now let us move ahead. Yes, so infatuation, and the word infatuation comes from the word fatuous, okay, and that is a bodily intimacy or a physical intimacy. Now, at this point, let me tell you one more important thing, okay, that how to realize that you are having infatuation for anybody or not. But before that, as a sexologist, remember that whenever we are talking with our patients, we are not looking to anybody from an advocate's point of view or like a judge through a spectacle of a judgment. And the reason is that in sexology, in medicine, in psychology, there is nothing like ethical, unethical, moral, immoral, correct, incorrect, good, bad, ugly, right or wrong, so on and so forth. So all these judgments are suspended because they are very subjective. And only we look towards a person as a human being, okay, and as a needy person who wants to get out of problems, from the problems and issues of intimacy and sexuality. And the last thing is that we actually try to empower the person, that somebody did sex in the past, and that's why we got this birth, we got this lovely life to live, and this beautiful world to see. So whenever we are saying anything as regards sex, actually we are talking as regards life. No sex, no life, no life, no sex. So sex and life are two sides of the same coin. And with this notion, now you listen and see whatever I am going to share with you in due course of time. Love and how one should identify that one is having only the feeling of infatuation and nothing else. The best acid test is that if in your own fantasy, that is sexual fantasy and actual dreams in sleep, you happen to get your partner, okay, then and you are not remembering him in any ways, or you are not fantasizing or missing him for any other thing but only for sex, and your fantasies has only that content, that you means any individual is having a sexual contact with the concerned partner, then it is only infatuation. Okay, whenever true love is there, paradoxically, in the dreams or in one's fantasy, the object of love, object not in the sense of objectification of a person, but the object of love, that is your would-be partner or the person who is in whom you are loving, he doesn't come in your fantasy. So that is a paradox. So जिसके साथ सिर्फ infatuation है, तो उनके साथ ना आपके फैंटेसी में उनसे प्यार भरी बातें कर रहे हो ऐसा कभी नहीं आएगा, और जिनके साथ आपका सच्चा प्यार है उनके साथ आप सेक्स कर रहे हो, ये आपके फैंटेसी में नहीं आएगा. So that is an acid test. It's a paradox, but it is true. So I think good touch, bad touch, you have always heard of, and touch and sensuousness are different from sex. Sex has touch, but every touch need not have sex. And say for example, people who bless us, okay, seniors, तो बड़ी प्यार से हमारे पीठ के ऊपर से वो हाथ हिलाते हैं, तो इसका मतलब वो सेक्सुअल इंटेंट है उसके उनके मन में, ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं. अनदर थिंग इज अ हीलिंग टच विच वी से. तो अगर कुछ सिंपल हार्ट अटैक किसी को आ रहा है तो वो ऐसा करता है, दैट इज अ पावर ऑफ द हैंड. ओके, फॉर अ वाइल you feel good. If there is a headache, you touch yourself, so that is the power of the hand. For a while you feel good. और किसी का पीठ में दर्द है और उसको आपने अच्छी तरह से थेरेप्यूटिक प्रॉपर मसाज एनाटॉमिकली करेक्ट दिया, तो फिर उसमें सेक्सुअलिटी नहीं रहती. But at the same time, there are some people who want sensuousness. Okay, sensuousness means that they want only touch. They need not necessarily want to have sex with any other guy. मगर उनको सिर्फ एक झपी चाहिए, या दे आर हगेबल पीपल. ओके, दे इजीली हग, और वो जब आते हैं तो वो बहुत ही प्यार से शेक हैंड करते हैं. सो दे शेक हैंड्स विद अ वार्म इन in their hands. So these are different. So you will notice that sex and touch is different. So sex would contain touch, but every touch doesn't mean sex. And now there are different types of intimate contacts. Okay, there are 12 to 16 types of contacts. Say for example, there is an eye contact, then there is an eye body contact, voice to voice contact, hand to hand contact, shoulder shoulder contact, hand to the back and hand to the waist contact. Then there is a head to head contact, which is seen only in apes and human beings for different reasons, which I will tell maybe some other time. Then there is a face to face or cheek to cheek contact. Then comes the mouth to face contact, mouth to mouth contact, hand to genital contacts, mouth to genital contacts, and genital contacts. So इतने प्रकार उसमें रहते हैं. हर एक प्रकार की कुछ सिग्निफिकेंस होता है, कुछ मीनिंग होता है उसका. And one should know this. This itself, we can have a separate lecture on this, because it gives different signals, okay, to different people. And these things are considered in sexual harassment or sexual molestation. What kind of a contact a person had, apart from something called as having a, whether the sex was mutually consented or not. So again, let's move ahead. Coming to nudity, I will just say that nudity can be seen in a positive sense or a negative sense. For example, in aesthetics, if there is a sculptor who has a beautiful carving of a nude body, and if there is a painter who paints a nude body, then one is looking at that. Say for example, I think Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci are the best examples where they depicted nudity in a very beautiful aesthetic way. Then that is an example of seeing nudity with a positive way. And of course, when we say sex, then all these things come: touch, intimacy, nudity, so on and so forth. And people can have problems in different such aspects, and a nudity can be seen even in a negative sense or a negative way. Wherever nudity should be there, nudity is not present. Say for example, I do get couples in a counseling where they are having sex totally in darkness because they have not become comfortable with each other, and they are feeling shy to become nude in front of each other, even though they are living in a living relationship or even though they are married. Okay, तो वहां तो nudity चाहिए मगर नहीं हो रही. And seeing somebody undressing in क्या बोलते हैं उसे, छुपे छुपे किसी को कपड़े उतारते हुए देखना, that is called as a peeping tom or a voyeurism. That is very common. Everybody, there is a statistic stating that at least once in a lifetime every person had been a voyeur. So एक बार किसी को ऐसा देखा तो immediately वो voyeur नहीं होता, but if such kind of a tendency is there and it is lurking for more than 6 months, then it goes to a sexual perversion or peeping tom or voyeurism, and then definitely it is not good. And then comes the penetrative sex, that is foreplay, interplay, and afterplay. But I will just first let us see, and that is orgasm or the wow feeling. But remember, what is orgasm? Well, orgasm is not necessarily only sexual. Okay, orgasm, the word comes from organ. Okay, where the organs of the body are satisfied. In the sex, the genitals and the entire body or the skin is satisfied, and there are certain changes that do happen take place. But there is an orgasm of a stomach which happens when you eat food, or जब डकार देते हैं ना, तो या there is a burping. What is that? You get a sensation of satisfaction जिसे हम संतोष या तृप्ति कहते हैं, that wow feeling and feeling of fulfillment or completion of the act. So if you are eating food and if your hunger and appetite gets satisfied, then that is also an orgasm produced because of the food, and that orgasm is of the stomach, and there are also physiological changes in that. Now coming to perversions, agalmatophilia, fetishism, and pornography. Agalmatophilia is a love for statues, okay, and from there comes all different kind of fetishes. So pornography also, it is a conceptual fetishism where the intimacy with a human being is lost, and there is only a virtual intimacy. And then we have to question ourselves whether is that intimacy fulfilling to us. And I am getting lot many patients where they are saying that only when they happen to see the pornography, then they get ready for the masturbation or mutual masturbation, or they are not aroused by their actual human partners. And from pornography comes an addiction. And how to know that one is addicted? Okay, simple test, that if the relationships are getting suffered, if your productivity, profitability, efficiency, effectivity of work is getting suffered, and if you are giving more and more time, it is said that if one gives time more than 10 or 20 minutes, then it is an addiction. मगर addiction किसका नहीं होता? अनेक चीजों का होता है भाई. Addiction आपको पता है तो सिर्फ, and that is common to everything. Now, haptics and technology and sex on social media, this is a different thing. This is also, now people are having advanced touch technology, and days will come where they will be smooching with each other and kissing each other. One from Bangalore and another from Bangkok and the third from maybe Boston, and they will be kissing each other on the screen. And social media is good for a social intimacy, but it is misused for sexuality, that everybody knows. And now coming to a very important thing, and that is the 9 types of intimacies. And let us know what are those types of intimacies. किती वेळ झालं टोटल?
ते करणं अवघड आहे कारण आपण एडिट करणार आहोत. आता आपण 47 मिनिट्स झाले मीटिंग सुरू करू.
हो, त्याच्यात मध्ये 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 कट होईल. आता हे 9 टाइप्स ऑफ इंटिमसी हे मी बोलतो ते मेन घे कुठेतरी. हा हे इथे. हा आता हे का नाही शेअर स्क्रीन नाही झालं. So I will tell you today the different 9 types of intimacies which people are not knowing, and then we'll move to an interesting diagram and situations, okay, where you will come to know the relationship between intimacies and sexuality. So the first is physical intimacy, okay. So as I told you that every physical touch need not be sexual. And soulmates. So what are soulmates? That is a type of spiritual intimacy in one way. Another spiritual intimacy is where you collect, you get together for spiritual and religious goal, from meditation, doing, if the husband and wife, or even if the entire family is doing meditation together, then that is definitely a spiritual intimacy. Apart from these 3 intimacies, the 4th one is the mental intimacy or psychological or mind intimacy, and then there are the 2 parts, and those 2 parts are most important. One is the cognitive with the person, and if you are able to discuss many things and many subjects like a spectrum, okay, and if you are able to talk with that particular person on any subject for hours together, and when you lose the touch with the time, and when you feel that we have talked for 8 to 10 hours in the night, and still then you have a feeling that we have not talked a lot, then I think you are sharing a good amount of intimacy, because there is a cognitive intimacy. You'd go on discussing different philosophies, different concepts, so on and so forth. कितनी भी बातें करो, कितनी भी गपशप किया करो, दिल भरता ही नहीं है, मन भरता ही नहीं है। रात पूरी हो चुकी, लेकिन वक्त कटता ही नहीं है, या ऐसा लगता है बहुत ही थोड़ा सा वक्त कट गया। आइंस्टाइन सेड ना, that in his theory of relativity, that you are with such a person whom you are cognitively connected and even you love him, then बड़े बड़े एरास छोटे छोटे, या बड़े बड़े बड़ा बड़ा समय छोटे क्षण के जैसा लगता है। और जब you do not want that person in front of you and you are having an hatred contempt, so that is the beauty of the cognitive connect or cognitive disconnect. Emotional, sentimental and feeling intimacies, I have already told, that is a genuine love, and you share different kinds of emotions. Okay, now one thing I would like to tell you, that sometimes we love and hate a person simultaneously, isn't it? And then what is that? And people get confused. अरे मैं उससे प्यार करता हूँ या उसके साथ मेरा हेट्रेड है, how two different things. नाही, ती खिडकी आहे, तो समोर रस्ता आहे आणि तिथे ते हे काय म्हणतात सुरू हाँ तर so at the same time so many people get confused in their relationship. क्या लगता है मेरे को, प्यार है या हेट्रेड है? तो और ऐसा क्यों है that you are loving some of his, hating some of his role? Say for example, this is very common when you start having bahas or a very heated argument on political ideologies, okay, in every way. But politically you are totally different. One person is on say party A or political ideology A, and the person who is in front of you, you are so called ये पार्टी आनी चाहिए या वो पार्टी आनी चाहिए, and you start hitting him, okay, and then you don't like him. So this is an example. तो ऐसा ये होता है. So we are seeing 5 intimacies. Now another intimacy is something called as a experiential intimacy. Excuse me. Intimate and you are liking to experience the same thing at one time, and that is called as an experiential intimacy. Well, at times you two buddies are there or two colleagues are there, they would differ in this experience. A person equates the intimacy with seeing the movie at one time, and another person or your partner would equate that intimacy by saying that we should go for a walk, एक साथ पैदल जाने का, चलते जाने का, तो उसको इंटीमेसी का मतलब वो रहता है, और पहले को इंटीमेसी का मतलब एक साथ मूवी देखना रहता है. तो ये हर एक इंसान को इंटीमेसी का अलग अलग मीनिंग रह सकता है. Then comes something called as a creative intimacy. That means you are at a project, you are at work, and you are doing beautiful creative things uh, along with each other, solving a puzzle, solving a problem, or enjoying something like mountaineering, or maybe you are setting up a drama and a play. So these are all creative intimacies, and उसमें बहुत मजा आता है. If have you experienced participating in an orchestra or in a drama? At that time, the enjoyment of the process जो रहता है ना, that is nothing but a creative intimacy. वो process की मजा आती है. Then of course comes the conflict intimacy with a conflict. Now this is paradoxic, but what it is. So कुछ बहस हो जाती है, कुछ quarrel या fight हो जाती है, और उसमें sometimes even abusive words are used and you show hatred to each other. But after a conflict or a quarrel, you know each other in a better way. And that's why you can take that opportunity to come close to each other. The reason is that every person is like an onion. I always tell this in my talk. And it would require time for you to understand an onion or understand that person layer by layer at different events, okay, with respect to time. Gradually, the process occurs gradually. And as you go unpeeling his layers of personality and character, you come to know the bitter facts and the bitter truths of his persona and character. एंड तो फिर क्या होता है, जैसा हम प्याज काटते हैं तो आंखों में से पानी आ जाता है, तो वैसे ही पानी आ जाता है ना, रोना धोना हो जाता है. तो but so that is called as a conflict intimacy. Now after the happening of conflict, a person has a choice whether to separate out or not. Okay. uh, in sex, ideal healthy sex, or even in creating any kind of all these intimacies, there should be a mutual consent and permission, and the force should be happening from both the sides. But to break a bond, to sever a bond, and to come out of that relationship or intimacy or even the sexual contact, uh, one person's permission is enough. So to create a contact and a bond, two people should consent, should agree with that. To serve a bond, one person is enough to give that permission. Yeah. So, and then there is a composite of all these things. So we have dealt with physical intimacy, with sexual intimacy, with cognitive intimacy, then with the emotional intimacy, with the creative intimacy, with the experiential intimacy, with the conflict intimacy, and with the spiritual intimacy, and then a composite of all these things. Okay. And then other remaining are the professional intimacies and so on and so forth, that they are professional buddies. They do very well in the office, but apart from that they are not connected. तो इतने सारे प्रकार की इंटीमेसीज रहते हैं. तो अभी ये देखेंगे कि इन कॉम्बिनेशन लेके क्या हो सकता है. Should I go ahead? Now this is a very interesting triangle, Robert Stenberg's triangular theory of love triangle. Okay. Now with this triangle, whatever relationship you are sharing with anybody, you will come to know where exactly you lie. Okay. And then I will be giving examples through situations. Now let us concentrate on the lowermost left point, where you can see infatuation and passion. So in infatuation and passion, basically there is a want or a need of only physical intimacy and sexual intimacy and nothing else. No other intimacy is there. And we will of course I will tell you the examples. And as I told you, that dreams and fantasies only of sex with that partner. See, when we say passion, passion actually means intensity of anything. So one can be passionate. माने जिसे उत्कट कहते हैं ना, मराठी में हम उसे उत्कट कहते हैं, हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं मेरे को पता नहीं. So being passionate is being having a high amplitude and high volume of anything which you do. Say for example, a person can be passionate as regards profession. A person can be similarly passionate as regards talking. A person can be passionate as regards his hobby, and a person can be passionate as regards touch or having sex. So if you add an intensity and a severity to it, and maybe to some extent frequency and duration, then what you get is passion. Okay. So infatuation. Then comes once you start sliding towards that liking, then you come to romantic love. The romantic love is a combination of intimacy and passion. Any types of intimacy out of those 9 intimacies, apart from physical and sexual, okay, then it is a romantic. So you can add that whenever and say that you are having a romantic love. When you say that you are having a physical intimacy, say you are sitting with each other, and I told you the 9 parts, shoulder to shoulder, और ऐसा आपने हग किया, या hand to shoulder, ऐसा neck to neck जिसे कहते हैं, तो वो physical intimacy है. sexual liking उसमें रहता है एक दूसरे के लिए, and there is also an emotional connect of love. That's why I told you all the पहले जो मैंने बोला ना कि जो सब points है. Now you move ahead at the apex, you can see liking and intimacy. That means there can be a combination of all the 7 intimacies out of 9 except physical and sexual. So you can have a cognitive friend, उससे आपकी wavelength बहुत अच्छी तरह से मैच होती है. You talk to him on many philosophical issues and political issues and religious issues, but ऐसा उसके साथ आपको बहुत प्यार है ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Yeah, okay. And obviously, in olden days, there used to be something called as a pen pal or a pen friend. That means you used to write letter and connect, because initially before 1990 or 2000 or maybe before 2010, all this social media and phones and Google and Facebook, nothing was there, and the laptops were not there. So only letter writing was there, and that connect. So these people used to be geographically get separated. Yeah. And then there is only such kind of a connect. Yeah. So liking is there, and they are just pen pals. Nowadays also through social media, one can get connected and one can start having liking with a person who is geographically separated. Of course, this apex which you are seeing, that you are having those any intimacy out of those 7, you are having with an XYZ person, and you can slide down, okay, to romantic love. Yeah. So this is one spectrum. Now, fatuous love is, I told you that only passion is there and commitment is there, commitment for the sexual act. So, infatuation and fatuous love, or the first sight love, is the best example of fatuous love. That means there is a passion, there is a one time कुछ होता है, कुछ होता है मन में, एक बार देख लो तो हो गया, और वो तुरंत शादी कर देते हैं. There are certain example in celebrities, I won't name them, and they had a fatuous love. One cricketer was there who fell a victim of fatuous love and then eventually separated, having divorce. Now the companionate love, you are seeing it on the right side of the triangle, is where you get an intimacy and the commitment is also there. Okay. Now there are different kinds of love. There are almost 10 to 15 types of love. Of course, I'm not going to tell you that right now. We can have talk some other time. But one important love is called as a companionate love. Okay. Three loves here I can tell. That sympathetic love, that means you are having a sympathy for a person because he is in trouble. Then there is something called as a compassionate love, which is a true love that comes out of kindness. अरे उसको उसको कुछ वो handicap हो गया, वो disabled हो गया, वगैरह वगैरह. And then the third is companionate. That means you are in a friendship or a company for more than 6 months, usually 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. And then because वो जो सहवास होता है उसके साथ रह के जो उत्पन्न होता है, निर्माण होता है, that is a companionate love. And then in a companionate love, if you many times you get committed, and that can get transferred into marriage. And now you slide down to the right lower apex, and that is an empty love. Empty love is where only commitment is there. And now I will tell you the examples. One is purely arranged marriage. तो प्योरली अरेंज मैरिज में कुछ पता भी नहीं चलता. पहले पहले अभी ये नहीं होते, अरेंज मैरिज का जमाना धीरे धीरे कम होते जाने लगा है, लेकिन पेरेंट्स ने सिलेक्ट कर दिया और दोनों ने शादी कर ली. तो ना कोई इन्फेचुएशन है, ना कोई पैशन है एक दूसरे के लिए, ना कभी रोमांस के लिए फुर्सत मिला, कोर्टशिप प्री मैरिटल कोर्टशिप का पीरियड भी नहीं मिला, प्री मैरिटल सेक्स भी नहीं हुआ, डेटिंग भी नहीं हुआ, और कुछ भी लेकिन कुछ भी किसी भी प्रकार की इंटीमेसी नहीं है. चलो गार्लैंड एक दूसरे के गले में डाल दो, शादी कर लो, and they are committed. So the question is whether they are committed to the marriage as an institution and marriage as a concept, and the social what I can say, the forces which are acting, and because mother and father have said so that marry this individual, or whether they are committed to each other, but they start from that. And eventually, of course, there are many arranged marriages who, because of staying together, then obviously staying together in one room, it's like a marriage turning into living relationship. तो वो फिर उनकी कमिटमेंट भी हो गई एक दूसरे के साथ, वो एक दूसरे का कंपेनियन भी हो गए, धीरे धीरे समझने जगह लगा कि अलग अलग प्रकार के लाइकिंग्स और इंटीमेसीज भी डेवलप है, और फिर धीरे धीरे पैशन, रोमांस और सेक्स अच्छा होने लगा. So a person can move. This is a dynamic triangle. The relationships are not static. You can move from one part to another, any relationship for that matter. Okay. And unfortunately, even youngsters like you happen to come to me, and they are depressed, they are frustrated because right from their childhood they are seeing that their parents are literally fighting with each other, and they are dragging the marriage. So a deranged marriage where they are just before taking divorce is something like only commitment is there and only empty love is there. Empty love means rather कुछ भी नहीं है, तो वो कमिटमेंट है सिर्फ, और वो कमिटमेंट ज्यादा करके बच्चों के लिए है. आप में से किसी ने वो एक्सपीरियंस किया होगा. मेरे पास आते हैं क्लिनिक में तो बच्चे कहते हैं क्या यार, माँ बाप इतना झगड़ा करते हैं ना कि मेरे को अब कंटाला आ गया है, मेरे को लगता है इन दोनों पेरेंट्स को छोड़ दूं मैं. तो एंड देन व्हाट हैपेंस इन दैट कमिटमेंट मैरिज और दैट कमिटेड फैमिली वेयर देयर इज नो लव. Talks are only as regards duties, allocation of works, allocation of time schedules, और बच्चों की परवरिश, और बस इतना ही रहता है, और एक दूसरे के ऊपर निगेटिव ह्यूमर करना, सार्काज्म करना, इतना ही चलता रहता है. एंड बीच बीच में देयर आर spikes of intense fighting, and that is the empty love. Okay, so that's all. Thank you. Bye.